This podcast is brought to you by the Disabled But Not Really Foundation, a local Kansas City nonprofit organization that pushes to instill a physical limitless mindset that breeds courage, confidence, and competence within the disabled community. You can follow and support Disabled But Not Really on social media or go visit their website at disabledbutnotreally.org. Their work and their mission is to really impact communities and make more people understand the benefits of inclusivity.
And I'm here with my co-host, Wesley Hamilton from Disabled Not Really. And we both do like a whole lot of other things, but that's like our main focus here. How are you, Wes?
I'm doing well. Good morning, everybody. I'm doing great, actually, April. I'm really good. I'm really good.
I like that.
You know, when the year is almost over and the Chiefs are winning. But no, when the year is almost over and you start to see like the completion of things, I think it can definitely be fulfilling in a lot of ways. So I think I'm just after all of the chaotic moments and the havoc and all of that, like you get to reflect, and I'm already doing that. And it's like, yeah, it was all worth it, you know?
Yeah. You know, I like that you said that. When you reflect, it was all worth it. But in the midst of it,
you know, you're pulling your hair out, you know.
So. Oh my gosh. So guests, thank you. If you're watching us live, we so appreciate you. If you're watching it later, we so appreciate you. And we have been doing this a gazillion years, not a gazillion, but almost, right? Like,
absolutely.
We have really been putting in the work. This is episode, it's 46. Is that correct?
You know what? Yep.
That's amazing. We need to do a 50th celebration when we get to the 50th.
I like that. I really like that.
Okay. We're actually trying to, we want new headshots, and we want headshots of us together. So we're trying to conspire to get you to come down again for whatever reason. So we can take pictures, or conspire to get me to go up there.
Absolutely.
Pictures. I haven't been to Kansas City. And maybe we do a site visit at Disabled But Not Really. And you just had your banquet, and it looks like it. Like, was it last year you had to postpone it?
We postponed it last year. A lot of reasons, but yeah, we had our gala.
It was like bigger and better and sold out, and so I think it's it looked amazing. You and your fiance looked amazing. The guests, you know, I'll be on looking at all the pictures, and that's something to be said. Like when you think
about, I mean, for me, I was really excited. You know, I think then I was one of the moments of gratitude that I was reflecting on. It's just it's always about the people that you serve, you know. And so for me, I've been to enough events that are always about a cause, but you forget the people to bring the people that you're serving in a room. And I made it intentional to make sure that at least, you know, the people that we serve were in the room, or as many as we could, and give them that opportunity to embrace that type of experience, that they belong, that they know that they can deserve to be in those spaces no matter what. And what does those spaces look like? Sometimes even people that look like me and you, because I've experienced it through mine, we just never went to a gala. We've never been to a black tie.
Yeah.
We don't know what formal wear is. I mean, I had people like, man, I had to go to TikTok to try to figure out like what to dress in. And that's real. So the gratitude I had was that I had a room of such diversity that it was authentic, very organic, no pressure, races, religions. I mean, it was beautiful, and it was, and everybody celebrated. We were all there for one reason, to celebrate difference. And I think it was just, it couldn't have been better, you know. It will only get better, but this moment couldn't have been better. everybody that the feedback from those that I mean, April, I had a young lady come from St. Louis in a wheelchair. She just didn't have community and seen the event. And for me, that was powerful because she got out of her comfort zone. We accommodated disability as best as we could, the best way that I would, and people felt seen. And that was another thing that really hit me. It was just there's power in really doing the thing that has served you well. Don't do what you think works for people. Like do what you know worked for people because it worked for you. I think like if people took that approach like we did, I think everybody could celebrate and feel welcome. It wouldn't be one of them. I mean, even the food, April. Listen, there wasn't no food left. They tore that food up.
Oh, that food must have been good.
It was good. I brought it was my personal chef that I always have when I
You always pump him up.
And he does these things, but it was just so funny because we had planned to take the leftover food and pass it out to the unhoused. And I reached out to him in the morning. I said, hey, you want to go and pack the rest of the food? He said, man, no food left.
They were like, Wes, we don't have any food.
I said people came back for seconds. I've never heard of an event where people got back up to go for more.
That was good eating.
I felt really good about that. You know what I mean? Just knowing that people felt so comfortable that they were willing to be able to say, okay, I can do this and I do belong here. So again, hopefully whoever's watching can understand like those are just true values that are wins for, entrepreneurs and philanthropists. And, we raised some money and that was great too. I think it was really the creating space for people that needed to know they belong.
That's beautiful. I'm putting it in the budget for me to come next year. Are you going to do it every year? Are you already planning?
I'm already planning. I was already sitting up looking at venues and stuff. And
nice.
Again, my intention with this was last year didn't go because I was living in LA. I felt like I was out of touch with the Kansas City community, to be honest. And it was hard to ask people to come support something that I hadn't been present within my own city to do the same.
Right.
So I came back intentionally to be involved and let people know that I do want them to like partner and work with us. And so we welcomed the sponsors and everyone literally has an impact within this community in some way. So it was just like a true networking. Even the music selection, I was like, let's do conversational music, jazz, classical, so imagine just a room of people, really strangers, getting to know each other and having a good time. I thought it was my fiance hyped me up. She's like, you should do this. You should be planning people. I did it to the thought that I don't think a lot of people think about. Yeah. And so I was happy. I'm still happy.
I am so happy that you're happy. And I'm so happy that it was like an edifying community event. Because that's the key thing. Being in community is important. And sometimes it's hard to be in community, especially when you're I want to be introverted. I don't want to do anything. My girlfriend calls me a turtle. And so when I get a flare up or I get sick, I
Yeah.
And I probably get prideful and it's probably ego, and there's a time and a place for everything. But sharing the story of the woman who came and was able to see community around her, that is huge.
Yeah. I had Anna as the keynote speaker.
We got to get her on.
Oh, we definitely going to have Anna coming up next year. We're going to bring Anna. We're going to definitely get a great list of people, you guys. So just side note, if you have anybody or if you are interested in being on this conversation and have a topic that we can all embrace and talk about, please feel free to reach out to our team. Because I definitely think that, we got to have some gold coming into next year. But
yes. Going from glory to glory.
But Anna spoke so well. And another impactful thing that I didn't understand how, but I made it intentional that we present an award but we present an award to an individual and organization outside of our own within the city serving disability.
Okay.
Because it was one of those things that sometimes we don't celebrate the outside groups, even though we partner with those outside groups. We celebrate them behind closed doors, but it's one of those things where you don't want nobody, you want to be the only one, but it wasn't like that night. It was really to bring someone on stage and say, this is what we see you too, and we respect your work. And I think that shifted a little perspective too within the room, or I hope it did.
Yeah.
That we can celebrate those within our community, even if we're not working together.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because there, like you said, there's diversity, and there's so many different ways that people are helping and doing their work. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, you're not part of disabled, but not really. So no, that's like, no, I honor the work that you are doing.
Absolutely.
And
I see you.
I see you. Mm-hmm.
So
nice. Next year, Ania, remind Marissa. We're going to talk about that at our meeting. You don't usually you hear us say Marissa. But behind the scenes today is Ania, and she's been working with us for a few months now. So when you hear us say something to her, she's a light, and she's going to transition and be on our team.
Absolutely. I love it.
Okay, this is what I did today. Early this morning, I woke up at like 6 o'clock. Did you work out?
Same. I did. I actually came back not too long ago. I'm not gonna lie, I was watching TV though. I was watching TV at like 6.
Whatever it takes.
It was good. It was so good. It was so good.
Okay, I wrote down just a little snippet from every month. And we wanted to like reflect and share. And also, like, as I share these, we're going to see like which ones stood out to us. All of them were impactful. But some people just like, bam, resonated with us. So Wes and I wanted to kind of highlight some of those because and he and I might have different thinkings around it. But our first episode was Dr. Hankins, who came back. She's a psychiatrist. Who evolved into coaching physicians. And she did some tapping with us. I'm all into the tapping, and Wes is like, he's like, no, you appreciated it.
I did. You see me. I'm tapping. And don't mess with me, April. Okay.
I love it. But we thought we would like bring something for the new year, like a practice of right mindfulness, one of the many ways you could practice it.
I think I did like the tapping. I think as you go through a lot of these reflections of different episodes that we've been through, a lot of them speak stillness, and I think the tapping did the same. And so whatever form that looks like for individuals, or however we show that, we can have a lot of different variations of what it looks like for stillness. I know you're going down the line, but just for maybe was it our last talk or just the lady that, excuse me, not sharing the name, but T. It was just, she broke down T so well of just how T gives you time and makes you have to be still. So my point is like, even with the tapping, it's the practice, yes, but it's the stillness that's so much important to just give yourself a moment. That was like really how I felt after with that, as well as what we've done all year.
I think, because I kind of pulled up the transcripts just to look through them. I think you're talking about who we had on last time.
Virginia.
No, Virginia Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Rose of Rebellion. And we could go all over the place. We're not stuck on any particular thing, but she did talk about tea. That just warmed my heart again. And I loved when she said her work sits at the intersection of racial justice, community, equity, and storytelling.
Absolutely.
I really liked her.
And again, like now, every time I make tea, I think I'm even slower.
I like that. But you have to be intentional. One, I've tried to. I did this twice. I'm totally out of the. Oh, I gotta get up. I gotta get dressed. I gotta get in the car. I gotta go because one, I can't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do have to do it, I try to modulate how I do it and where I go. So 2 times I made my tea and put it like in a Yeti cup or to-go cup. And you know those things keep your tea hot. I burned my mouth like 2 times.
You know, you know what, April? It's funny because before you told me, I already knew what you was gonna say. I don't think it's worth putting tea in those things because the tea be hot, and
All
if
day.
you don't, it be hot all day. Your cup will sit in that car all day. You never, you had to throw a little ice cube in there just for.
You know what? That's true. And you like you try to open the top so it'll air out, but then you're in the car. So I will drink my tea in stillness, like you said.
Stillness, you can't rush it. You cannot rush it.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
one of them things that you take really to be on the go, unless you want iced tea. You want iced tea, but you know, but still, even that takes time to even prep if you want it done right.
Yeah. Hey,
Um,
do you yeah, I remember Virginia like has this whole um method for her tea, and I know a lot of people do. I have loose leaf tea, and this one I'm drinking a ginger lemon. And I think it's in an organic bag. But you put honey and sugar or anything in your tea?
I try to stay away from sugar. Doesn't really exist in my house,
Yeah, same.
and so honey, absolutely. But that's it. Oh, and lemon. I've been like really bringing lemon back just because of the healthy
Like the
uh,
benefits of the citrus.
benefits of the lemon. But my routine is really like I like my teapot, you know, my tea kettle. So like I literally like as when we were about to get on, heard the whistling. Like I like the whistling. Like I like to, but that's also like not rushing. I'm not throwing it in the microwave. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm literally letting the water boil. Um, I like spring water, so I use my bottled water.
Good.
I'm
You gotta be healthy because we're putting so many chemicals and all kind of crazy stuff in our bodies, right?
telling you, and even with the tea kettle, like I use a cast iron one, kind of like with that type of mold in it. So it's like
Yeah.
it's pretty good. And yeah, but the honey, I let after I put the tea bags in, I let them steep. Some days I do use loose leaf tea, and I have like that one tea, like I put it at the top with the water, and it can kind of just
Oh, it's deep into.
steep inside. So it depends on the day.
Yeah.
But sometimes I like the little tea bags that got the messages in them
Right.
because this one says the worst enemy we have is our own fear. You know, so like
Yeah.
something like that to read in the morning, or this one says be guided, listen to the whispers of the universe. I love that too. So I like the messages that tea give you as well. So it's like not only just taking the slowness of it, and then like being intentional about what you're putting in it. So like if you're going to do tea, like tea can shift moods, it can enhance moods, it can help health. So kind of just going into like what Virginia said, like it's like when you think about it, it's not just coffee. Like people can go for a flavor of coffee, but you're not intentional about like, you know, probably what type of vanilla you're getting in there, maybe milk. But other than that, like it's not so, but tea, people can go find so many different variations of leaves. Sometimes, like when I got my loose leaf tea, I put fresh fruit in it and kind of just crunch it up so I can kind of have that flavor in it. So some strawberries or blueberries or something as I'm steeping with it. Um, and so it gives that a little bit better flavor. So I'm when I go to a coffee shop, though, I do chai. So like I do
Yeah.
love chai. I don't really stay on a matcha. I don't, like I love them, but it's more sugar for me.
Yeah, they have to sweeten it up because regular matcha is just like that. I want to understand. You said with the loose leaf tea, you
Mhm.
put fruit like in the top or in the cup,
So in the
like the sieve that you use for the tea to
yeah,
make fruit.
uh, and I just let it just seep in there, let the juices seep, because it's like anything that's kind of being steamed down anyway, just to kind of melt. So the juices, if you use berries or something like that. But yeah, just let it sit in there, have some fresh fruit. I mean, I've done different fruit, but it definitely captivates the flavor.
Ooh, I'm gonna try that. And you know what I was thinking? Now we're going all over the place, but we'll circle back. I was on the plane and we went to Miami to see Khalil, and my youngest came in. It was his 18th birthday. And I figured the two of them could like hang out in, Miami for 18 to 24-year-old was like, ooh. I stayed in the hotel. I went to the spa. I walked on the beach like for 3 days. I was chill. But I was watching, have you heard of Masterclass?
Yeah.
So it was on gut biome health. Excuse me. It was a Masterclass series on gut biome health. 3 parts. And if anybody knows Masterclass and I'm shouting them out, tell them to reach out to us. We need more sponsors. But there were 3 scientists and 1 chef of fermented foods. So they were talking about gut biome health and the science behind it. It wasn't just like woo woo. It was like no facts. When you said you put the fruit in and you pour over that, they were saying this one scientist and professor, he's at Stanford, I think, or UCLA. You should eat 30 different fruits and vegetables every week. A variety of 30, whatever it looks like. So I've been buying different types of fruit. I made a smoothie this morning with kefir. And that's a good way, I think, though, to pour it over your tea and get the essence of the fruit.
No, I mean, I like that. Me and my daughter started juicing last week. And that was pretty cool. So I think I'll probably end up trying to do that a little bit more consistently just to get more nutrients and fruits and stuff in.
Yeah.
But 30 fruits, that's a lot. I gotta go look at the list and see how many. I'd be lying if I was like, yeah, no problem. Hey, bro, I go do that 30. I'm over here.
I have not reached it yet. Well, I tried to make a salad, put a whole bunch of stuff in it, but it's like, this is a lot of work.
Honestly, it's hard to find 30 because most things, I think, when you go into the supermarket are seedless. A lot of things aren't organic. If you kind of know fruits and vegetables, you start kind of picking and choosing. The cost of food is so expensive now.
Oh my God. It's like $2 for some eggs.
It's like, man, I might just get some apples this week. Like, I don't know.
I've been doing that. Here, I'm eating another apple.
Absolutely. So February, though, what are we doing February, April?
In February, that was Dustin Gibson, the prison abolition, disability justice guy. Remember he had on the hat? And he was just like so, to me, cerebral, and really passionate about equity and justice in our system. He just had a lot of knowledge.
No, I definitely feel like that. It was a perfect time for that. It was a lot of awareness around that. I think he could be definitely someone that we can bring back, especially now that, of course, I want to go ahead and wrap up, but now that everything is done this November, we can start having conversations about, certain policies and just kind of how they do impact disabilities and other minority groups, and what resources and stuff will be out there and available to certain people and groups and times. So because as we do think about 2025, we just also just think about just a new turnaround, so when we get back into these conversations, it goes back into that too. So I think he would definitely be a great person. I think when we chatted earlier this year, it was more like understanding about the knowledge. But I think if I'm knowing someone that had knowledge like that, I'm pretty sure it was many more things to be implemented going into the new year. year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I remember him correcting me when I said prison reform, and he said no, prison abolition, and I was so grateful that he checked me like that, in a good and a healthy way, because my knowledge of it, like you said, wasn't thorough. And you and I both can go through the transcript and pick out some things that stood out, because an hour isn't just enough. Not enough time for a lot of these conversations.
No, but I think a lot of these conversations do plant seeds that can spark other conversations in other groups and other places.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think also maybe something that we can do and approach maybe is exploring getting, if we got 3 to 4 people that were kind of conversating around similar topics, that we can do a panel discussion, and have someone that moderates it, and get some Q&A and things, so we can kind of get from the prison perspective to just the everyday or how those both. I just seen a article by spinal cord injury, or it's not a spinal cord injury magazine, but it is a disability represented magazine, and they had a story about being in a wheelchair in prison. And I guess they interviewed a guy, and of course they had more of a animated and cartoon type of pictures that went with the narrative, and it was just it was very eye-opening for me. It showed kind of like, just the process, but I don't think, like, even for me, I just never thought about that. And it was just like, so again, like, just having conversations that are around those topics, but then also like thinking about like individuals that are actually affected by them currently, and what are, some of those things that are happening. So I think, a dope panel discussion around, disability justice is probably a really good one. And then try to find, some, I don't know, I'm brainstorming, but I do think that could definitely just be a great conversation, and a great approach that we take is trying to bring a couple voices that's been on and bring them all on collectively, so that we can have a really good, powerful dialogue. And then maybe an hour does become enough,
I'm thinking, yeah, that's true. I was also looking, there's an I don't know if it's an organization. I think it's called CCTFD. I'll find out what the acronym stands for, but they have meetings once a month, and they're like an advisory board for the city regarding disabilities. And most of them have disabilities. And they advocate for that. And I remember going to one meeting, and one of the gentlemen that was talking, he was like, what are we doing in the prisons? And he's like, because he's like, one, he was saying, like, there's a guy, something happened, he couldn't hear, the police went to his house, and the cops were acting a fool, and the guy couldn't hear. And then he was talking about, he said, and in the jails, like, this guy's hearing aids went out. He can't hear. Like, and he's like, there's like no justice being done. And a lot of times things that happen are, out of desperation, and it's just a mess. So I just told them if they have a meeting in December, I'll go to that. And then I was thinking we can invite Dustin. And then I think the following month we had Leon Ford on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had Leon Ford. That would be a good panel, Dustin, Leon.
Absolutely. Leon came with some nuggets. I really loved Leon's talk. I really was happy that we were able to kind of get him on and just understand the work that he is doing. And I mean, just his story in itself.
He was so candid about his story and so unapologetic. I hate using that word. He didn't need to apologize, but he was so real.
He was real. It's people like that just, I don't know, my heart is already full, but it makes me also like, I just did this real good mic drop. Like maybe an hour would be enough. And now I'm like, man, it wasn't enough. In my mind, it's like, oh nah, it wasn't enough to talk to, so
Yeah.
But I highly recommend anyone that wants to really hear a really powerful perspective from someone who went through something life altering and is doing a significant change within not just the Pittsburgh community, but just communities all over now.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. I mean, his story is so motivational. I would think for anybody, because I think human beings, we get into a rut, we get depressed, we think there's no hope, and he acknowledged that in his book, right? And he just shared his story, and look where he is now compared to where he was before. And you just keep moving forward. And I mean, he's doing it, and I don't feel like he's doing it for any other reason, just community.
Yeah.
Community support. All right. I put him on our list of people we want on again.
I mean, we want all y'all back on.
For sure. I was planning to email each and every guest, add their YouTube on there. And hey, people, I hope I'm able to show you this. We've been uploading our YouTube live streams into podcasts. So let me see. And I think I haven't put this season on yet, but I'm almost done with like every other season. So you can find us on Apple. You can find us on RSS feed or whatever. iHeart. Yeah, I have it pulled up right here. Oh, look, that's me and Wes, everybody.
Oh, I like that.
You like it? This is on Spotify. So this goes back to, I think, 2021. And I took out the episode numbers because you don't have to listen to them chronologically. It looks nice on Apple too.
I typed Sunday Safe Spaces and boom, it popped right up.
What's up? Daddy. We are evolving. Wes has been encouraging this for a while. And
you have a follow.
Yeah. So I'm gonna upload some more, fix some of the information. So you can listen to us every day if you like, people. Or if you miss a Sunday, it's right there. So we're really, really excited. Sometimes you just gotta start, right? Just take that first step. Who knows what'll happen?
Absolutely.
If it's gonna reach, it'll reach.
I love this.
Yay. So in May, it was you and I talking Hot Topics Community Catch-Up. June, this is another brother we really liked, Royce Andrews Porter, Mindfulness and Fatherhood. That was good, huh?
I mean, any conversation around fatherhood is good, but I think that one really, there are a lot of amazing people where you are.
Well, he's in Northern Cal.
But in so many instances, the connections that you guys have made, because I don't think that we bring some, like, of course, you got some people that might have been on certain levels, but I do think we bring in names that make people curious to go research and go look. Yeah. And I think that's a name that I hope people can go and check into. I guess that's what I'm getting to, because I have to go look in the transcript. But what I can think, did we do any practice?
I don't think we did a practice with him. He shared what his practice is. He shared what practices he does with his children.
Okay, that's what it was.
And
that's I'm trying to have my daughter sitting in the back trying to listen.
She can listen.
No, we was trying to teach lessons at that. I'm saying, like, yeah, we was listening. Like,
okay. And was he still in LA, Ania, or did he move? But he does sound. Oh, he moved to Austin. Isn't that funny? Because Virginia was from Austin, but then she was in New York.
New York. Remember that.
But what I thought was so wonderful was just his whole conversation and his demeanor and the intention he has around fatherhood, which, I mean, maybe things have changed a little bit, but people don't uplift Black fathers. You know, it's such a stereotype. And I'm so thankful. Like you said, we meet some really cool people, and like, these are everyday people, and not every day they're doing amazing things, but they're not amplified like somebody who's an actor or singer or, you know, whatever. These people are very genuine. And also, I had no idea he had a disability. So when we asked him about that, he was like, oh, well, one of my arms is shorter and then this happened. I'm like, and so our intention wasn't like, let's just find a disabled person. You know, like, he was just mindful, and we liked that. And then when he shared that, I was like, boom, icing on the cake.
Always ice. 1 out of 4.
I like that. So he'd be somebody we could like have back too. And then talking about not knowing people's disabilities, we had Gina Winstead. Yeah, Gina Winstead, who was a DEI VP at Carnegie.
I remember her.
When I tell you, this is one of the smartest human beings I know. Like, you sit and listen to her, and I'm just like, and I've worked with her on boards. She's very active in the community. And I'm so happy because I actually did like some mindfulness coaching with her 2-3 years ago. And then to hear her share her practices and her intentionality now about using them, it's great. And the thing that stood out to me with her, so many things, her late diagnosis with ADHD, I don't know if it was adult onset, but it was just a late diagnosis. And 2, I mean, I don't know if you recall, I'm sure you will when I say it, her knowledge of like the money, working with the city and the state and getting permits, and how hard it is to take like 100-year-old buildings and convert them. Like, she knew her stuff. I was like, stuff I wouldn't even think of. I'm like, just put a ramp, you know, open the door wider, you know, do the things that they tell you to do. And it's like, cities and governments are not giving money. They're not allocating money to have that happen. That was very eye-opening to me.
I actually, it's crazy that you say that. From that conversation, it may kind of put me in like this, I don't know, kind of rabbit hole of what does those things really look like? What does that funding look like? And because I have this battle that I face these days, April, where as successful as I am and as much as a taxpayer as I am, I don't have access to everything.
Yeah.
That I still feel isolated a lot of times because I can't get into a room no matter what my status looks like when people see me. Yeah. And so for me, I've just told myself that I need to be more intentional on how we change that in my city. So with the org, we kind of went and started looking to figure out like what, and again, I'm the chairman for the mayor's committee for people with disabilities here. And I really don't know what active things we're trying to do to kind of create better access or what funding. And I ended up finding out that we do have funding that is allocated to accessibility within the city. But the finishing date on it is like 2037.
Oh my gosh.
And it could have been longer because I felt like I was going to be like 50 when we had complete access once this passed. And so it was kind of like there are certain processes that are in place, but they have such a long time to be completed that it doesn't really serve people now that want to be able to get up and get out. It's going to serve a future generation of people that, you know, might still follow suit within the same stereotypes if change don't happen today, you know, in my mind. So when we talked to her, she shared that, it just made me start to seek like funding for permits, for access, and then also making our city aware, so that more people are actually, because a business owner can look for a permit or funding within their front of their location. It's things like that that can create better access if they are aware that they can do it. So not really attacking the companies or people here in the city, but also just sharing resources now and say, hey, these are out here. These are, this is what you can do to receive funding or try to push for access.
I'm glad that spurred that, because that was so insightful to me. And that's why when I tell you, like, she's super smart, she's just like the laws, the financials, the government. I was like, oh, okay, it's not just her talking. She like laying down facts. I've been going, and I want to share a story. And it's funny, you said a quote. Where did you? I can't remember, but it was so good. Oh, let me see. Hold on. Wesley be having quotes. It was with Gina. See, I know my stuff. You talked about invisible versus visible disabilities, and people, like, whoever has a disability, but you're like, it's a privilege for your disability to be invisible, like, because people engage with you in a different way. And I agree. I've been getting acupuncture, and there are days, well, I just really hardly can walk because my knees are just like broke down. It's just horrible. So I've been going to acupuncture in an old building. Wes, they have like 20 stairs to get into the room. And I'm like, who is this accessible to? Like, do you have an elevator around back? Do you have a lift? Like, I'm thinking of like elderly people. I'm thinking about people like me. And I was like, this is the stuff that Wes be talking about. Like, why would you? That's gatekeeping.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
To a service that, but that's really what everything, the access to all the good things have barriers in front of them. But in so many ways, like, again, there's some cockiness in the last couple of years, but I do feel like some of these barriers that are being put up are coming out of my tax dollars.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't feel fair when you start, but the perception sometimes of disability is that the government pays you, that you're getting money from the government, that they take care of you, whether it's a disability check or what. But there are people with disabilities that actually contribute to society, that are really trying to like put money to make changes, that their fundings are going to differences, but we're still isolated, and so that it wasn't a reality check for me when I wasn't paying taxes. I won't lie, but once I started paying taxes, I realized, like, wow, like, but I still can't go nowhere. I still can't do nothing. I'm still fighting for access. There's people that, probably it's just people that live on the street that can go into a door that I can't. So at the same, so for me, it's anyone could go in a room, but I can't. So it's like one of those, or I pay more in life for just convenience. Yeah. That's another thing too.
And the convenience is also, like, it shouldn't have to be convenient. Like, if I want to be able to take a shower and a bath without any obstruction, my room should cost the same as the room next door, and I should have the services.
Yeah.
Tell me if it's not.
I never understand why the accessible rooms at the hotels cost more.
And apparently, like you said, there are a lot of people with disabilities who work and make money. And there are a lot of people who are trying to manage the balance between, I can't make too much because they'll take my stuff away. So people know. It's just, and Lord, I'm not going to bring politics into it, but I don't even know what's going to happen next year. And I think, you know what, on a positive side, that just means we advocate more.
Yep.
We work harder, maybe more strategically, because I don't want to be like we work harder and we burn ourselves out.
No, but we just work harder to raise awareness and help people understand that what resources and things that are out there that can help. But then for me, I thought about so many things of, like, on my work, it's time to really push more entrepreneurship within the disability community. It's time to really, is you can have lack of access to go into someone else's space, but you can create access around your own. And within this country, we do have the opportunity to be able to create and start and do things. And a lot of things started in the garage. And I really want to be able to plant that seed to people that really could benefit from doing so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they can thrive in life because they feel like they have value.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like giving people value or meaning to live. Um, you don't want to strip that away. And so I'm definitely like eager to not only just find opportunities but provide them. Like I'm definitely thinking of business models where we can start to hire more people with disabilities, hire the people we serve, provide more opportunities. Everybody has a different skill set, and so everyone can bring value in some way. Their ability doesn't really matter to us, so, and I get to be that representation of that. So absolutely. But I think that for me, a lot of these conversations, and I hope people that go into the podcast or just look at some of the YouTube videos, it's kind of like a journey of like taking control of your life in so many ways, whether it's parenthood, whether it's advocacy, whether it's just like understanding stillness, wellness. It's just all of these different things. We have all these people that come on this Sunday talk, and all of them have one thing in common. And I think it's the confidence to know their truth.
Yeah.
And I think that when you have voices that speak truth, there's so much you can learn from it. So I highly encourage everyone, to really dial in and, start from the beginning, understand where the passion of this came from, because there were definitely some very passionate conversations season 1.
Yeah. And we want to like revisit and share. That's why we did the podcast. Yeah, you let us know if you know someone else you want to speak on here, or you want us to bring somebody back. And everybody, like Wes said, everybody has this foundation. We ask everybody, what do you do for your well-being and your wellness? And the last 2 months, August and September, we had medical professionals on. So we had Chamaria, and speaking of which, she's a registered nurse, and she started her own business with the CPR AED. And it was wonderful to have her share. First, she was so grateful to be on, and we were so grateful to have her. But yeah, she has her own company where we were with the school district, and there were a ton of people there. But how many CPR people do you know who talk about the disparities? Like women don't get CPR as much as men because of their anatomy. I had no idea. Those who are wheelchair users can get certified to be a CPR coach. Who knew? Nobody tells us. They, again, gatekeep that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
And her entrepreneurship. We might want to tap into her.
I definitely loved her. I mean, the awareness. I mean, I guess you wouldn't know till you in a situation, and you don't know how to be comfortable in situations when it comes to, like you said, women's anatomy and CPR.
Yeah.
But now there's a voice within that from the seed she planted.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, wheelchair users can become coaches.
Yeah.
So definitely go and see if you want to get certified just for your family. You can absolutely go do that.
I'm going to look at some statistics. I don't know if she shared, but I would think like there are disparities, like women, people don't want to touch. If you had a heart attack or some other wheelchair user, like people might be like, oh, I can't take them off the wheelchair. Like, no, as a human being, like get in there,
Yeah, absolutely.
And then after that, we had Cherise Nance, who's a psychologist. She owns her own company too. She vitamin C healing. I think she owns that with a partner. But let me tell you what I love about Cherise. She's like chill. Like just talking to her anytime, she's like cool. She runs, like she's active and stuff. But that was a very enlightening conversation, and I really enjoyed hearing your input. Because you're able to share from another perspective. And we totally understood her, but caregiver support and compassion fatigue, which we have to think about for ourselves now.
I think, yeah, absolutely. I definitely like that. Again, it took me into one of those, what can we do a little bit more for people? We're actually going to do a Christmas party this year. So that we can bring in caregivers and everyone, and then have volunteers be kind of the caregivers for the night, so that everyone can have a break, and things. And so,
wonderful.
Again, the seeds get planted. You start being like, okay, let me be a little, and again, like my perspective was one thing with my family and like my experience, but it was also my awareness to there's still people that we serve that has these same experiences daily. So let me take this seed and be a little bit more compassionate. And so just sharing that. So anyone that's doing the service and caregiving is a part of your service or a part of those that you serve, find ways to make sure that they are safe and feel seen and okay as well. Yeah. So
and find that balance, It was a good year, Wes. I'm really happy we made it through. Next month, everyone, we're gonna do a replay. We already talked about Virginia Cumberbatch with the team and equity. So in December, we are going to take care of ourselves, right? Wes, talk about caregivers and compassion, and we'll do a replay. And again, you have access to the podcast, and these 2024 episodes will be uploaded. And we'll be back in January 2025.
2025. I mean, I'm already excited for 2020. I'm excited about 2025 because I get married in 2025. April.
Did you set a date, or you just know that'll be the year?
Yeah,
I don't know. You might not want to say everybody your business.
I'm not telling the date, but we said one. I'm not telling it, but
that's beautiful.
But again, it's forward thinking, so to be able to see your year before it appears only sets you up for success in whatever you're doing. So I hope everyone is already forward thinking and getting those vision boards out now. I will say, April, before we kind of close, I can't names I'm never good with, but conversations I always hold. Mm-hmm. Whoever referred to it as the Profit First book. Profit First. It was one of our conversations. I want to say maybe in September, it wasn't too long ago, but I got that book right after, and that book has changed my life. It had to be from one of our entrepreneur ladies. But oh man, I'm not gonna lie. Like I thought I understood my money, but it really, I'm mute to April, but it really, really, I don't know, it just shifted my mindset. I really liked it. I've actually shared it with other people. I done bought it for people already. I'm like, you gotta understand. You got to understand this method. I don't know. I guess when something can make you think about your habits and your actions, I'm a fan of it. And I think that's what really it did. And it just made me more conscious about just everything that I'm doing and how I'm applying my mind and my money and my, everything. It was good. And came from this talk. So
I wonder if it was Sharice. I will look back through our transcripts, or you look at the book and tell me.
No,
it wasn't Profit First, was it?
I feel like it was Profit First.
By Mike.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's him.
All right. I'm going to get that book too. I know we're going to go, but I did also. Okay, I'm getting that book. I know you really liked Shift Happens.
Mm-hmm.
And Leon Ford's book, Unspeakable Hope, I think is a good book. Like, you can't hardly put it down. And then Dr. James Doty. Have you heard of him? He, first of all, this man is super smart. Like, he sits on the board of the Dalai Lama. I'm pulling up so I could share with you all the things he does. It's incredible. But what I've been telling people, he wrote a book about magic manifestation or something like that. And it's totally not like, ooh, manifest in this way. He's a neuroscientist. He is founder of Stanford Center for Compassion and Altruism Research and Education. He owns stock. He's super rich. He's a neurosurgeon, a neuroscientist. He's an inventor, an entrepreneur. Like, the man is, and I guess I was listening to a podcast and heard of him, but he talked about when you want to bring something into your life, when you want to manifest something, the brain knows that. If you think it, he said, then write it down, because then that solidifies what you're thinking. He said, and after that, visualize yourself doing that. Mm-hmm. And he said, the more you do that, there's a principle called salience, which is a psychological real thing. You activate that salience part of your brain. You know how you get a new car? And you're, oh, I got this white car, I love it. And then you get on the street and you see like a gazillion white cars that are just like yours. Mm-hmm. You had never noticed it before. Well, those cars were already there, but because you spoke it and you wrote it, you activated the salience part of your brain, and now you see it.
What's his last name?
Doty. And then he said you activate another part of your brain called the action something. So then you start doing things towards getting it. And he said, write it down and write it down and write it down. Then it was something else. But I was like blown away. And I'll end on this.
I got it.
He grew up poor. He grew up in an abusive family. And he used to go to a magic shop when he was like 12 every day because he didn't have nothing to do. Nobody was helping him or whatever. And this woman, the owner's mother, took him in and talked to him about mindfulness and stuff. She's like, write down all the things you want. And he said in his 12-year-old mind, he's like, I want a Porsche. I want a Rolex. I want $1 million, da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, it was a 12-year-old thinking. He has a Porsche. He has a Rolex. And he has a huge house. And he said all that to say, like, it's not about the material things. It's like science in your mind, like the true chemical. It blew my mind. So that's what I've been reading lately. So I said,
all right. I got something that I'm excited. I like anything that talks about manifestation because I do believe my life is manifested in so many ways. So.
I think about you being engaged. Like years ago, you're like,
yeah,
healthy. I want somebody. And that person wasn't there. I mean, I don't know, but it
absolutely. And you manifest it and it comes. And
it's just a process and progress. So I leave everybody with that. Like, don't attach to whatever you want, but what you want is what you want. And it'll come in the right season, right? Okay. Well, it's at 11 o'clock hour. We did it.
We did.
Yes. I will see you in the new year.
In the new year.
Yeah. So everybody have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Take care of yourself. Thank you for being a part of our journey. And
happy holidays. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And happy New Year.
Yes. Bye. Thank you for joining us and listening to the podcast. If you would like more information on the guests and the stories that you've heard today, and to hear stories from others, subscribe to the podcast. We also invite you to subscribe to Open Up Pittsburgh's newsletter, as well as our YouTube channel. We want you all to take care, and remember to make your own stories. This is April. Peace.